Okay, today we're gonna learn more about ethical considerations in Christian value. We're gonna look for what the value of Christian counseling are. There are some ethical principles in Christian counseling. The purpose of ethical consideration is Christian counseling. That's because Christian counseling involves various ethical considerations that is important to maintain the well-being of client and the integrity of the counseling profession. Also, it is because when providing Christian counselors should be guided by ethical principles and values that is rooted in their faith. One more time, like I explained before, there should be some confusion between the terms that we use, which is ethic and more than virtue. One more definition of those terms is ethic. When we talk about ethic is the set of moral principles. Moral principle is simple, like what is wrong, what is right, what is bad, what is good, what is justice, what is injustice. That's the moral principle. So the set of moral principle, that's especially when we talk about ethic, that is related to a certain group, like doctors group, professors group, lawyers group, some kind of something, a professional field, to that organization, deal with ethics. And then more is just relationship to principle. It's a simple concept of what is right and what is wrong in actual behavior. Okay, when you do something, oh, John, or Kenny, or Peter, you are doing wrong. Something like that. What you're doing is good for the people. That's the moral. Okay? And the virtue, lastly, we say that's also behavior, like moral. Okay? Behavior, but that is higher standard. Okay? So when we say you have good virtue, you are really, really good person. You do always, things in right. You are very justice person, something like that. That's the virtue. Highest standard in behavior. Okay, there are some important key concepts and considerations in Christian counseling. There are some key words we're gonna talk about, which is informed consent, confidentiality, competence and training, dual relationships, boundaries, integration of faith and counseling, respect for diverse beliefs, and ethical decision making refers and continuous self-examination, supervision, accountability, cultural sensitivity. Thus, all Christian counselors should consider to equip well those terms in ethical principles. Okay. First, let's talk about informed consent. What is informed consent is that's actually refers to it is simple, like the client or patient should have clear understanding of the whole process of some kind of treatment and an intervention that includes its purpose, potential risk and benefits, and then the client's right to make the decision. Simple word, consent is clear understanding of what counselor is going to do with, or the doctors is going to do with their patient or their client. Clear understanding, that's the key word of informed consent. That is important because it is fundamental, ethical, and legal consent. Without that, without you giving them your client or patient the consent, it is against ethical and legal. So you always should give a clear understanding to your client and patient. Okay, also next term we talk about is confidentiality. Confidentiality is simple word to describe as information for client, patient information, like personal information, including like address, phone number, email, blah blah, something like that. Also, other information of client and patients, like medical history. Okay, those things well kept in private. It shouldn't be, open to the public. Okay, that's the confidentiality. Always should be kept in private. Maintaining good confidentiality is essential to building relationship with your client, which is trust, fostering open and honest communication. But counselors should be always aware of limits of confidentiality. We're gonna talk about later this, and to be prepared to act in situations where they cannot handle, or there should be exceptions applying to the patients and public's safety. So there are some exceptions. Okay, I will. Okay, there should be some kind of legal mandate. When you go to hospital, or when you go to counselors, when you go to even school, seminaries, colleges, there are always legal requirement to disclose the process of counseling, process of taking care of your patients, which is like some kind of paper is given to patient or client to sign, which has disclosure of all the process of taking care of clients and patients. Okay, also another issue in confidentiality is when there are belief that keeping information confidentiality that result in serious harm to the individual and public. So the confidentiality may be breached. Okay, like I said, confidentiality is client and patient information is well kept in private, but there are exceptions, because when you counsel with client, you find out some kind of bad emotional stems that coming from hatred or the anger. Eventually you think that might be resulting in bad behavior like crying. Let's say your client comes in office. When you counsel with he or she has some kind of bad opinion of certain kind of people, severe hatred to some kind of religion, some kind of ethnic group, that you think, the client has bad ideas of doing, resulting in bad behavior, which could be crime. So you have to report to your authority or public safety agency or police. That's the exception. Okay. So also, there should be crime, fraud involved in clients that should be revealed to the authorities to prevent crime and fraud. Also, confidentiality exceptions like national security. Like, you consult somebody, but you finally find out that's the terrorist, right? So that is a serious risk to our country. So you have to report that. That's the exception. Okay. And then next, competency and training. That is, you have to keep up yourself as counselor to give your client and patients good practice. So to do this, you have to keep yourself up to date information of all knowledges, or you have to keep up yourself or good with most recent technologies. That's the competencies and training. That is a foundational aspect of ethical and effective counseling practice. That's the must things that you have to do. Counselors ethically obligated to provide competent and skilled service to their clients. That requires commitment to ongoing professional development and the adherence to establish the standard. Okay, you always keep your standard maintained or try to make higher, and then holistically that leads to professional development. That includes up-to-date knowledge, up-to-date technology, or all the cultural backgrounds that is included in professional development. Also, another important aspect of ethical consideration is cultural competencies. That is, there are many different cultures in the world. Also, you have to understand, you have to have empty mind to different cultures and different cultural backgrounds. That's the cultural competencies. Counselors should be culturally competent. That means counselors always sensitive to and knowledgeable about diverse cultural background. There are many different cultures in the world, right? So that's diverse cultural background. Not only knowing that there are many different cultures, but you have to also identify, know So this include understanding how culture can be influence your client's experience and needs. Some culture have emphasis on different value. Like I'm Korean. Like we give a higher value. Most Asian peoples, yeah, right. We give more value to like education, right? But some culture have different values. Like money making is most important value in some different cultures. Like Asian cultures, we have like education. We have show appreciation to others, right? We give values, but some culture they don't do that. That's the difference. So you have to know and then identify and understand the cultural background. There are some tricky relationship between you, between counselor and then the clients, which is dual relationship with is professional relationship with clients and counselor. Another relationship is little bit of close, maybe you can say personal relationship with you as counselor or an individual with another individual. When you meet, you consider your client as another individual. So individual to individual relationship, that's kind of close personal relationship. So there are two relationships: professional relationship, personal relationship with clients. Sometimes that raise kind of dilemmas, ethical concerns. But you always keep the professional boundaries secure. When you counsel your client more and more and over, you kind of build a very close relationships. With a close relationship with your client, you cannot do counsel to your client. It is just like personal talking without two different individuals. So you cannot do that. You always keep your professional boundaries. Okay? While you're talking to your client, is always based on counselor's advice, counselor's opinion, not an individual, like close friendship relationship. So professional boundaries are in or interactions with clients. That's inside or outside of the counseling relationships. That is very important to avoid the situations that could blur the line. You don't know blur means you don't know where the line, between professional, individual relationship. So you have to make the line very clear to distinguish professional relationship, individual relationship with your client. You always keep your professional relationship firm. Then there could be a little bit of a personal relationship. Okay, there's interactions, integration of faith and counseling. That is integration of faith counseling is combining of those two terms. Faith and counseling is combined together. That's the integration. Faith-based counseling or Christian counseling that involves the incorporation of religious, spiritual beliefs into the counseling process. In Christian counseling, that is approaching to most commonly associated with Christianity, and then but can apply to other faith traditions as well. Okay. There's also ethical boundaries in combining faith and counseling, which is counselors must keep and maintain ethical boundaries in the integration of faith. That means they should not impose to their own beliefs on clients, nor should they use religious, spiritual element to manipulate, control clients. It is like situations like, okay, some client coming to your office to counsel, he is a Buddhist, right? But I am Christian. Impose means you cannot force to believe my religion. Okay? So you cannot tell, oh, Buddhist is not religion. Buddhist is not savior. So believe Jesus, believe Lord. You cannot say that. That's the ethical boundaries. Client autonomy. Clients should have the autonomy to determine the extent, to faith and spirituality. You always respect your client's decision autonomy. You have to find out how come, why your client has concluded to that decision. Okay? Then ask, then have them talk to why they come to that decisions. So you try to find out the issues, you try to find out answers to that decision. That's the autonomy, okay? Counselors should respect clients' decision. That's the autonomy. Also, another consideration in Christian ethic is respect for diverse beliefs. There are many different religions, beliefs in our world. So you have to respect for diverse beliefs, which is very fundamental ethical principle. In Christian counseling and mental healthcare professions. That involves acknowledgeable appreciation and valuing in diverse religious, spiritual, cultural, and personal belief of client. You have to understand, you have to identify, you have to give value, even though your client's belief, religion is different from yours. Okay? Also, important aspect of a diverse belief is non-judgmental attitude. For example, like I said before, we as Asian, we give values to appreciation and then education. But some European people come to your office to consult. He has value of making money. But you cannot say, or making money is not good value. So you cannot say try to change your mind, philosophy, belief to valuing in education and appreciation. You cannot force them to change their belief, philosophy, and then any kind of concept that they have. So counselors should approach clients with an open mind and non-judgmental attitude. Or what you say is wrong, what you say is right. You cannot do that. Regardless of their belief and religion. So clients always should feel free, because when a client is free based on their belief, their cultural background, their religion, when they have free feeling, they like to do what their situations, what their dilemma, what their problem, what their issue they have now. Then they can tell you about those things. You know, when clients feel they have criticized, they don't tell their secrets, their stories. That's why it is important not to have non-judgmental. Okay, always have open mind. When you do Christian counseling, there is some issues, ethical decision making. Ethical decision making is a crucial process. That is consideration of ethical principles and values when faced with ethical dilemmas or challenging situations. You have to make sometimes in the situation you have to fall in a dilemma to make a decision. Oh, what is right? What is wrong? You cannot make a decision between right and wrong situation, and that's sometimes you face those kind of situation. We talk about later. Okay? Ethical decision making helps clients receive the highest quality care in the meantime of maintaining the integrity of counseling process. Integrity is telling the truth. Okay. Also, as profession, counselor or mental doctors or other medical professions, they have ethic code, okay, which is referred to American Counseling Association, ACA. They have many different ethical codes. You have to refer to those ethical codes. And then also American Psychological Association, APA. This course provide a framework for ethical practices. Sometimes when you do counsel to your client, the referral is sometimes involved in it. Actually, referral is counselor is believing that the client's needs or circumstances are better served by someone else. I mean, someone else means another profession. Because sometimes you are not expert in a certain situation. Like I say, your client is coming to your office who is a child, right? Child have some kind of trauma, and then you don't have experience of expertise in child counseling, so you can refer your patient to an expert of child counseling. That's the refer. So referrals are made by many different regions. That includes when a counselor has lack of the knowledge or lack of the expertise to address the particular issue, or when high level of care should be provided to your client, so you give referral. It is common, right? When you go to your physician examine your symptoms of your medical condition, they refer, right? So doctor, recently I hear some kind of high-pitched sound in my ear. So your physician refer to the eye exam doctor, right? So that's like that. Also, counselors refer to another counselors. Ethical and professional standards refers always aligned with ethical or professional standard. Let's say we make an example before. Your client come in your office who is child, right? So you think you cannot counsel because you are not expert in child counseling. So when you refer your client to another counselor who is in good knowledge and experience with good expertise in child counseling, right? You cannot refer your client, a child, to just teacher or any advice, right? So you have to refer a counselor who is licensed or good a certified expert who is in child counseling. That's keeping the higher standard. Also, collaboration is sometimes we have to consider. You work together another counselor to give resolution to your clients' issues, problem, dilemmas. Okay, so counselors should work collaboratively with clients in the referral process. They should provide information about potential referral sources that helps client make informed decision and facilitate the transfer of information to the new provider. That's the collaboration. Another consideration in Christian counseling is you always keep self-examination. Self-examination is like self-reflection or self-assessment that is integral part of ethical and effective counseling practice. That is like you always, when you do counseling practice, you always you have to have time, to put yourself as counselor objectively. You have to examine yourself to effective counseling practice maintain. That involves counselors regularly, critically examine their own beliefs, attitude, behavior, and practice to make sure that they are providing best possible practice for your clients. That's why self-examination is needed. In self-examination, important aspect is personal values and beliefs. Self-examination involves being aware of others as someone's own value, beliefs. Self-examination means, as counselor, you have to look inside yourself. Okay, you have to examine your belief, you have to examine your attitude, you have to examine your behavior, right? So that's especially related to the religion, spirituality, ethics, and social issues. When you know those things well, that is important in maintaining yourself, looking yourself in objectively, and also that avoids imposition of personal belief on clients. Imposition is, forcing. Forcing somebody to accept some kind of idea. That's imposing. So you cannot impose to your client. You cannot, impose your belief, your religion, your thought to your client forcefully. That's imposing. Just try to make them understand. Okay, another important issue in self-examination is bias, prejudice. Self-examination is critical in identifying any biases and prejudice that may affect therapeutic relationship. So counselors must strive to minimize the impact of personal biases on their interaction with clients. Okay, maybe there just we need some clarification of definition, which is bias, prejudice. Okay. Bias is like inclination or prejudice for or against a particular person, group, things, That's the bias. It can be manifest as preference, it can be inclination, or partially toward some option or group over. Mostly in another word, it is like similar to you have a stereotype, right? That's some kind of bias. So bias can be either explicit or implicit. Bias can be conscious, explicit, unconscious, implicit. Bias, sometimes you're aware of it. Sometimes you are not aware of it. That's conscious or conscious. Prejudice is preconceived opinion or judgment about an individual or group. Important thing is that is not reasonable. Or you don't have, let's say, you cannot have some kind of opinion, prejudice, because you never experience those things. You cannot have prejudice. You don't have, a logical reason to have thought. That's the prejudice. You don't have a logical reason, then you give prejudice, that is wrong. That's the prejudice. Bias is generally a preference. Bias is like, what you like, what you more like. That's the preference. But prejudice involves negative opinion, judgment to a specific group or person. Negative opinion, judgment. That's the prejudice. Sometimes bias can be like, positive, negative effect, but prejudice always involve negative effect. Also, bias sometimes associated with discrimination. Sometimes it is not associated with discrimination. But prejudice often most likely result in discrimination behavior. So both bias, prejudice can have harmful effects on individual and communities. So you have to recognize that if you are as counselor, you have to check, you have to examine yourself. If you have some certain bias or prejudice, okay, you try to get rid of those prejudice and bias. So recognizing, addressing them is a important thing for promoting fairness, diversity, and inclusion in various social, professional, and individual personal context. So bias, prejudice is harmful, not good to individual and community. So you have to recognize, if you have those two, you have to get rid those two things. Because we have to bring the fairness, diversity, inclusion in our society, the professional field. Okay, let's have like 10 minutes break. Okay, let's keep going to next slide. Okay, also Christian counseling, when we talk about ethics, then integration of faith and counseling, you have to have supervision and accountability. Supervision and accountability is a critical component of ethical and for effective counseling practice. It makes sure that a counselor provides quality care to their clients in the meantime of adhering to ethical standards and maintain professional competence. Supervision and accountability mechanism plays very important role in maintaining highest ethical professional standard. So always make sure that your clients receive good care. Supervision, accountability is, in another word, like you say, you have to be responsible. That's the simple word for accountability and supervision. You have to be responsible to your client. You have to be responsible to your what you practice for your client. That's accountability. Also, another term we have to know that is cultural sensitivity. Cultural sensitivity is also known as cultural competence and cultural awareness. That is very fundamental concept in Christian counseling, or also a mental health care field. Cultural sensitivity is involving understanding different culture. You give values to a different culture, and you have to respect many different cultural backgrounds of your clients. You have to respect the beliefs. You have to respect the values of your clients. That's cultural sensitivity. Cultural sensitivity is very essential for providing effective ethical counseling. Because there are many different clients, coming to your office, right? Some culture has, Asian culture. In the Asian culture, there are, Chinese culture. There's, Japanese culture. You have to respect. You have to understand those different cultures. That is cultural sensitivity. Okay, now we have to move to another main topics. Integration of faith and spirituality. When you do Christian counseling, you have to combine your faith, spiritual in counseling. That is integration of faith, spirituality in Christian counseling is unique approach that looking for combining those two aspects of psychological principles with Christian belief. Those two things, psychological principle and Christian belief combined together. That is in integration of faith and spirituality. So you can provide holistic support to your clients who can deal with their emotional, psychological, spiritual issues. Okay, integration of faith and spirituality, there are main key concepts and aspects. First one, there should be a biblical foundation. And another key word is prayer and meditation. Christian value and ethics. Religious identity. Crisis intervention. Supporting healthy relationships. Community involvement. Healing through forgiveness. Integration with psychological techniques. Respect for diversity. Then professional training. Those keywords are very important and key aspect in integration of faith, spirituality in when you're practicing Christian counseling. Okay, first let's talk about biblical foundation in integration of faith and spirituality. When you practice Christian counseling, the biblical foundation, that verse biblical foundation refers to using of Bible. You always based on the Bible verses to basic fundamental foundation of your Christian counseling. And then the Bible is thought as authoritative text. Bible has authority. When you do practicing Christian counseling. Because Bible give us moral and ethical framework. The Bible provides us a moral ethical framework for Christian counseling. Also, Bible gives us faith-based coping strategy. A coping strategy is kind of hard word. A coping strategy is not copy. Actually, in here, copying means you have to deal with something. You have to overcome something. That's the copying. Okay. So you have to, Bible give us making good, ability to deal with some, hard situation, hard issues. That's a faith-based coping strategy. Also, Bible gives us principles of love and forgiveness. Christian counseling emphasizes the principle of love, forgiveness, reconciliation. Reconciliation is like, bring the good relationship back, in normal. When you have, argument or you have disconnected relationship with somebody, reconciliation means you have to bring those relationships in peaceful, loving relationship. That's reconciliation. Bible is, the primary source of our wisdom, guidance in Christian counseling. In moral ethical framework, counselors always make a reference to Bible principles and commandment to help your client make ethical choices and live in accordance with Christian value. In faith-based coping strategy, we can use Bible as fundamental for our praying, meditation. Also, there are some kind of relationship advice in biblical. You can find out and deal with, or give us idea to deal with stress, anxiety. Those things we can deal. Learn by learning from Bible. Next. Integration of faith spiritually. Another topic is prayer and meditation. Actually, prayer means you can communicate with God. Communicating with God means you are seeking the guidance. Also, you have to express your concern, your problem, and then you can find solution. In communication with God, you have problem in present time. You talk to God what the situations you have right now and ask for guidance of solution in your present problem and issues. You could find out the solution in communicating with God. That's the prayer. Also, meditation on scripture. Class are guided to reflect on and meditate on some certain Bible verses, passages to relevant to their issues. There are many interesting, enjoyable stories in Bible. The story I like the most is the story of David. His story is, reflecting sometimes, my life in nowadays. So when I read the Bible, he always, tried to solution. In the meantime, he also, having a lot of trouble with Saul. So, he always seeks for a solution from God. So I learned when I read the Bible, actually the story of David. So when you read Bible, you could do meditation. What's the meaning of the certain verses and passages? So that guides our, life or our problem of a present time to the resolution. Also, Bible gives us stress reduction and relaxation. Some people, when they read the Bible, they feel like, calm in their mind. They can reduce their anxiety. They can reduce their nervousness, and then eventually they can find their inner peace in their mind when they read the Bible. Also, mindfulness and presence we can find in Bible. Meditation can help client cultivate mindfulness and be present in the moment, which improve their emotional, psychological well-being. Also, Bible gives us healing and forgiveness. Many clients guided in praying for forgiveness. And healing in their own life or for reconciliations in relationships. If you keep reading the Bible, you could find out, let's say, you are victim of crime. First, the idea we have is you hate the person who give me the hard time and even, physical threatening. But it is not easy, but when you read, when you meditate the Bible, eventually you can lead yourself to forgiveness and love. Okay, one more time. Christian values and ethics in integration of faith and spirituality. Which provide moral, ethical framework that guides us counseling process and help clients help client talk to you their emotional, psychological, spiritual issues. When you align with Christian belief and principles, that's the Christian value and ethics. Love and compassion is another important aspect in Christian counseling. Counselors always encourage your client to express their love and compassion to themselves and also others. Sometimes even in hard and challenging situations. Sometimes you are really having a hard time in your job or study, but when somebody asks you for help, you could help them. That's the love and compassion, because that reflects the teaching of Jesus in the Bible. Integrity and honesty. Integrity is, in another word, telling the truth. That's integrity. And then honesty is almost the same as integrity. Your clients are encouraged to live in accordance with Christian ethical standard. Should be, truthful in their interactions with others. It is important role in your client's action and relationship with others. You have to have integrity and honesty. You have your client tell the truth of the issue they have, problem they are dealing with. Also, respect for human dignity is important aspect in Christian counseling. Christian counselors help clients recognize their inner value of all individuals and treat others with respect and empathy. Respect is admiring something, right? and empty is like understand someone, some situation, in the situation of someone's own position. That's the empty. Empathy, not empty, empathy. And moral and ethical decision make. Christian counselors help clients navigate ethical dilemmas by drawing Christian principles and biblical teaching to make morally good decision. Sometimes you find yourself in dilemma, making the decision that's based on your moral, right? But sometimes you cannot make decision easily. Let's say you're a doctor in a hospital. Your patient is live on life supporting device. You have to make decision about the patient's condition. There are no other medical help, just maintaining the heartbeat and breath, helping with helping of life supporting device. Then your a family of your patient come. Doctor, at this situation, there's no other better outcome of your patient health. So, what decision do we have to make? That's kind of tricky situations, right? You cannot. It's really hard. You cannot suggest your the family of your patients. Okay, now there's nothing we can do more, for your patients' health. So you cannot tell, let's disconnect all the life supporting devices. That's kind of hard situation. So let's go over a little more deeper of ethical dilemmas. That is the situation in there individuals or groups faces choices between two complete principles or values. For example, medical ethics. Like you have to make decision as doctor, end of the life decision. That's hard situation, right? So whether you suggest the family of your patient continue life supporting treatment or just let's terminate. There's no progress of health. So that's the situation. Also, business ethics. Let's say profit versus ethics. You tell your customers, this is the best device in the world to make money. You tell these things, right? But in reality, the material and then the function of this device is not, highest. So that's also the dilemma. You have to make balancing to making profit with ethical consideration. to make money, you as your owner of business, that conflicts with your employees' wages, right? To make money, you cannot give more wages to your employee. But in the point of employee, he also needs to, a sufficient amount of wages. So in those two situations, you are kind of in the situation of ethical dilemma. Also, environmental dilemma is another aspect of ethical dilemma. Conservation and development. Let's say for the development, there are, let's say in Amazon, you have to build a city in the forest. Then you have to cut all the trees, right? But in conservation point of view, that's harmful to our climate change, right? So that's the dilemma. So it is very hard situation. That's ethical dilemma. So resolving ethical dilemma can be really, really challenging to us because it is not clear what is right, what is wrong, what is bad, what is good, what is justice, what is injustice. So another key aspect of Christian value and ethics, there are families, marital values, there are stewardship and responsibility, pursuit of holiness and virtue, community and service, grace and redemption, and faith-centered goal. I think this is the last slide. Then after this we can wrap up. Okay. In Christian counseling, another key aspect is religious identity. Exploring, understanding your client's religious identity is important aspect of Christian counseling. Because always as you are Christian counselor, you have to encourage your client to explore and reflect in their religious identity. You have to ask, you have to find out what's your client's religious background. That involves examining their beliefs, values, and then the role their faith plays in their life. That's why you have to find out the religious, belief and then religious background. So clients encouraged to consider how their religious identity has shaped their worldview, and then personal choices. So you have to find out, you have to identify your client's religious background. So to do this, there's a self-exploration. This involves examining your client's belief, values, and then the role that plays in their actual life. So you have to promote your client to identify their religious identity. Also, you have to find faith background. This exploration helps counselor understand the client's religious context. And then also once you find out what your client's religious, you see how their life was reflected based on their religion and then the worldview. And crisis of faith. Sometimes many religious people, they don't have a happy life, even though they have a religion, right? Sometimes they have crisis in their faith. It is like this. I go to church every week, but sometimes I have very hard, bad relationship with, another church member. Right? So, even though I say I love people, I love God, but in my mind I don't remove hatred to certain member of my church. So that's the crisis, because you have fight with argument with that church member. Sometimes that leads to the decision that you want to go to church. Even more, you quit going to church. That's the religious crisis. So that's not easy. You have to bring the issue of your client to present. So counselor provide safe space. Okay? You can tell anything. What happened in your church? Tell me the truth. And then you give them the environment safe, and then freely that you can, your client can talk to you. So you have to support the issue or the environment of your client. So safe space for your client to open their mind and discuss their doubts, questions. So we'll offer guidance, support in the process of exploring and resolving their issues. Okay, faith background. Clients may discuss their religious background and upbringing and experience with their faith tradition, and then also, the issues they have now in believing certain religions. in crisis of faith, like I said, some clients may have a bad experience in religious activities that comes with, struggling with doubts about their religious beliefs, and then actual practice ministry in based on religious belief. So you have to find out the struggling, the conflicts, the issues, even doubts about their religion. So you have to bring those issues to present and talking about with your client and give advice and give a solution to those issues. That's, when you do counsel your client, sometimes they have their crisis in faith. So I think that's all today. Now we can wrap up today's class. See you next time. Thank you.